You're listening to The Kickouts,
where Daragh and Dave were the first two people eliminated from I'm a Blair Boy, Get Me Out of Here.
The face that runs the place.
Long live living.
Goodbye and good night.
live here on 90.3 Near FM, the EMC Podcast Network, and all good podcasting providers. Welcome to another edition of The Kickouts, your weekly pro wrestling guides. I'm Dave Cullen, and I'm joined by Dakota Kai's time traveler Daragh Maher. Explain to me how a time traveler works. I'm always curious.
Travel to time?
No, there's more to that, surely.
How so?
Well, you something you're obviously not telling me.
I can't give away all the secrets.
Time travel was always thought as a myth. Now it's possible. We see Dakota Kai be in NXT in America, and all of a sudden the same week end up in the same time, almost the same day.
On the same day, about 4 hours apart, she was gone from Cambridge to Florida.
Which technically isn't possible if she's gone from the UK to America, right? Because wouldn't it be the morning over there?
Not possible with time travel.
Well, time travel, yeah, but
it is possible with time travel, I should say.
So what are you saying? So how's it done?
I'm not telling you. Why would I give away a secret like that? I'm the guy making the money out of this. If I tell you, that means you're breaking into my money, and you're not taking my money.
Just money and time travel?
Well, yeah, if someone needs to go somewhere quick.
Doctor Who never charged.
Look, listen. Doctor Who's a crook, right?
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
How is he
he's on drugs. He's always on drugs.
How is he on drugs?
See his little vape-like thing that he has.
Right.
I've never watched an episode of Doctor Who. I'm going off like bits I've seen.
I'll stop you right there.
That's not a vape. That's filled with drugs.
He doesn't even have a vape.
No, but it looks like a vape.
We're coming to you from the FM studios in the beautiful North Dublin village of Coolock. We'll be here for the next hour, giving you all the latest news, results, previews, rumours and more from the world of professional wrestling. We'll be talking about all the latest action, or all the latest news I should say, from the world of pro wrestling, both here and abroad. So reviewing all our past week's action with our top 10. We'll be talking about WWE, New Japan Pro Wrestling and Fight Factory. We'll also be previewing events coming up from the likes of OTT, Courage and Low Blows. All that to come, but first we're going to start, as always, with the news.
I hate to be the bearer of bad news. Also, good news, everyone.
Sadly, we have to put the music down for this one, and because it's going to start with a bit of bad news with the news this week. Jose Lothario, one of the biggest stars in the history of Texas wrestling, died on Tuesday morning. He was 83 years old, was one of the most popular babyface wrestlers for years in San Antonio and Houston in particular during the 1970s, where he feuded with numerous top heels of that era and drew his biggest crowds when he teamed up with Mil Mascaras against the legendary tag team of Black Gorman and the Great Goliath. He was also a regular challenger for world titles against the likes of Dory Funk Jr., Harley Race, Jack Briscoe and Terry Funk, and had a long time feud in Houston with Gino Hernandez. He's also famously trained Shawn Michaels and also worked with Michaels in starting a wrestling school in San Antonio and a promotion where he gave Bryan Danielson and Brian Kendrick their starts. Lothario also had a run as Michaels' manager in the WWE, including his manager and pushed as his trainer for his first WWE title run over Bret Hart in 1996. So like we can't say we know much about him. Obviously I only know him as Shawn Michaels' trainer, like back in the day. Like, did you ever watch WrestleMania 12?
Not for a very long time.
No, did you have that on VCR at the time?
Yes.
Yeah,
we taped it.
Yeah. Now, did you see all the stuff that, beforehand where he was training him and preparing him and stuff like that? That's how I remember him anyway. Like, so
probably, yeah. You have a better memory of it than I do.
Yeah, so, but like, you know, the only way you'd know him is through Shawn Michaels, really, like his his induction, like in his training, like, and you know, obviously he's remembered probably more. We remember him here more for that side of things. Yeah. But like, you know, if we look at the wrestlers he's wrestled against as well, like, you know, I didn't know he had all these great challenges against the likes of the Terry Funks, the Jack Briscoes, the Hardy Races.
I know, great.
So
Definitely. Yeah, the big names from obviously the past. Yeah, it's surprising. I wouldn't have known, especially with the way the territories were back then as well. I didn't think that you would have had these sort of matches. And like I said, I can't comment much on them. I haven't seen anything of them. Like you said, the only thing that
of course, no, me neither.
I know I know him, Jose, from was his time with Shawn Michaels.
Yeah, I remember his run when he was WWE champion, Shawn Michaels, and Jose Lothario. He was manager, and around the same time, Shawn Michaels had his feud with Vader in that summer, and Jim Cornette was Vader's manager, and it was a promo, I think, where it was just a thing for Jose Lothario to just punch Jim Cornette, which I don't know, I just found funny at the time.
Well, Jose got to do what a lot of people wish they could do.
Or certainly later on anyway. So anyway, we here in the KKO just want to wish everyone and the Lothario family all the best and more, and our deepest sympathies at this time, and may Jose Lothario rest in peace. In the meantime, we'll move on to news from New Japan.
Yes, Wrestle Kingdom 13 is starting to shape up, with a number of high-profile matches now confirmed for the January 4th show. In a press conference held just last Sunday morning, New Japan announced that a singles match between Kazuchika Okada and Jay White will take place at the Tokyo Dome. White and Okada have been feuding, of course, for months, hitting a crescendo, I should say, at Destruction, when both White and Okada's longtime manager Gato turned on him. And White issued the challenge to Okada a few days ago at Power Struggle. Also announced Chris Jericho will defend his Intercontinental title against Tetsuya Naito. Sorry, I don't even know why. I got it. Don't give me that look.
No, I'm sorry.
Don't give me that look.
I've mentioned him so many times now, and you still can't get his name right.
I always get his name right. I got it wrong once. Leave me alone.
Just carry on.
I'll walk out, I swear.
No, you won't.
I'll go back to the Blair Boy Jungle.
The Blair Boy Jungle.
I'll go back to it. At least they were nicer there.
How much money's in that time travel? I know you're here. I'm just saying.
Sorry for trying to help a friend out.
You didn't even try to help.
Jesus.
You didn't even try to help. Sorry, carry on.
Anyway, Tetsuya Naito,
Thank you.
who made the save for Evil at Power Struggle after Jericho had successfully defended the title against him. Naito issued the challenge for backstage. Following the event, Jericho said he wouldn't accept it. Apparently the match has been made. Anyway, in the junior heavyweight division, it was made official that Kushida will battle the Bullet Club's Taiji Ishimori, who sent the message he wanted a shot after attacking Kushida with a crutch at Power Struggle. And despite Roppongi 3K winning the Super Junior Tag League, the IWGP Junior Tag titles will be defended in a triple threat match, which will also include Bushi and Shingo Taiyagi, and champions, of course, Yoshi.
You can get this.
It cut off. Sorry, no.
It cut off.
It cut off. Weird. Hold on.
Don't want me to say it.
Damn it. Keimaru and Desperado.
You know, I sometimes have trouble pronouncing Yoshinobu as well, so I'm with you on that.
Yoshinobu.
Alright. First of all, for some strange reason, I'm not complaining that it's a three-way for the junior tag titles.
Okay.
Even though Roppongi 3K won it, and won it fair and square against those two opponents. Like, you know, you kind of want to see more Bushi and Shingo, because I saw a few of their matches during the junior tag league, and I'm enjoying them.
It's kind of unfortunate.
It adds more to the match.
In terms of... No, it's just ever since obviously the likes of the Bucks went up to heavyweight, I think especially for me, I think the attention on the junior tag team division has waned a little bit. I don't find myself wanting to really watch the matches as much, because there's not as much depth as you'd like. Or maybe if there is depth, it's not as much notoriety. Now, having these guys, having these matches, triple threat matches, getting as many teams involved is going to help. That it will build it up. Just at the moment, I'm not really high on the junior tag division.
Well, it's like, I think sometimes when the young, like especially because the Young Bucks are there, it's going to take time for it to eventually blossom with them out and get it going. And you have 3 solid teams there as it is now, like in particularly Kamaru and Desperado and Roppongi 3K. Like Bushi and Shingo are just new now, but they're already having huge momentum because of the whole because Shingo's new to LIJ and just want to continue that momentum, and rightly so.
Yeah.
So give it time. Jericho and Naito now, I'm really looking forward to that match now. So
will it better their last one?
It has to be. Like, it was a good match, like their last one, but it was very quick. It was so sudden when it happened. So I expect this to be like as good as Jericho against Omega last year.
Is it going to be built like Jericho Omega? Is it going to be built as the co-main, or is it just going to be one main with Omega and Tanahashi?
I'm not sure. Because let's bear in mind as well that Okada and White, like, which is, that's a match that if New Japan are New Japan, that won't be up there with the card. That'll probably be the third main event, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Behind Jericho and Naito, and then
you can see how
Omega
it's
and
you can see the heavyweight tag match, whoever it's going to be, will be that match. Then it will probably be Okada and Jay White, or it could be Jericho and Naito. It's either one of those two, and then it would be them, obviously.
Well, it could be but the fourth one could be Ishimori and Kushida as well. That's a class match.
It could be. Yeah, it could be.
It obviously doesn't have that star power compared to last year with Ospreay and Skrull.
The 4-way, yeah.
That was a class match as well. But there's a lot to look forward to. I can't see it having the same hype, or at least right now compared to Jericho and Omega, because I have to bear in mind that aura that Jericho created when he first went into Japan to face Omega, and that was like one of the most anticipated matches in arguably in New Japan's history. Yeah. Like, considering like it was such a shock, and certainly we can foresee Jericho ever going to New Japan or going outside of WWE.
Exactly, yeah.
Now look at him, he's doing so well. So I honestly don't know. I can't see it, but then again, who knows? Maybe as hype gets closer. But right now, I think it was around the same time last year we first heard the possibility of Omega and Jericho. Yeah. And that spark that when it happened, it's not there for this. Or at least it's not there to that extent. So by that knowledge, so it's definitely shaping up though. Like you look forward to this already way more than anything WWE do at the moment. It's no offense to them, but like they just they want the way they put together. You want to look forward to it so much more. Exactly. And it's worth it, and it's worth holding out for because they're always class cards.
Yeah, exactly. Will we move on to the next news story?
Yeah, we'll move on to more New Japan news, actually. The lineup for this year's World Tag League has been released. No real surprises announced for this year's tournament, save for the Young Bucks. Anyone you'd think would be in here, including the current champions, Gorilla Destiny. Unlike this year's Super Junior Tag League, this year's tournament has no blocks, and everyone will battle it out with the top 2 teams with most points facing off in iWeight in the 9th of December. A very common combination outside of the actual tag league. During the actual tour, Kazuchika Okada and Hiroshi Tanahashi will be joining forces in a number of dates in 6- and 8-man tag team terms. The two have been teasing an alliance of sorts in the past few months. Like, especially, like, if you notice, like, the whole rivalry between Okada and White, Tanahashi's actually been the one to save Okada, believe it or not. And they are the biggest rivals ever. They're like a lot of people have compared them to the Orton and Cena of Japan, if that makes sense. And now they're teaming up. It's almost surreal. But nevertheless, here are the teams for this year's World Tag League. So you have Toga Makabe and Toru Harare. You have Kojima and Tenzan, Nagata and Natakashi, Yoshida and Yumino, Juice Robinson and David Finney, Michael Elgin and Jeff Cobb, Ishii and Toriano, Beretta and Chucky T, Hangman Page and Junoro Takahashi, Tamatonga and Tangaloa, of course, who got his Destiny, Minoru Suzuki and Takashi Iizuka, Lance Archer and Davey Boy Smiths, the Killer Elite squads, and Zack Sabre Jr. and Taichi and Evil and Sonata. So it's a pretty healthy tournament. Like, there's a few teams. There's a few teams that certainly stand out there. Like, I'm curious to see. The Killer Elite squad have been very quiet lately. Like, since they lost tag titles, I think it was earlier on this year. Like, so it'll be interesting to see if they pick things up again. Yeah. It was Dominion they lost, was it? Who else is there? I'm curious to see Cobb and Elgin together. Now, that's a powerhouse of a team.
Yeah, for sure. I think they do tag a little bit as well.
In Ring of Honor or wherever else.
Wherever else.
Actually, Elgin's in the Ring of Honor in years, I don't think.
Yeah, no, he hasn't. He stays primarily in Japan.
Pretty much, yeah. I'm curious to see how Beretta and Chucky T do. The best friends.
I think they'll do well.
Think they'll do well?
I think they do well.
Who else will do well? I don't know. Like, out of all those teams, bar Wheels of Destiny, which team do you realistically think could challenge, could win and eventually challenge the Wheels of Destiny for the tag titles if they don't win it, let's say?
If they don't win it.
Evil and Sonata stand out for me at the moment.
Evil Sonata are obviously the standout.
I'd like to see a Curry squad, but it's been so quiet lately.
If you had a different Suzuki gun combination, if you had the Sabre Jr. and Suzuki, I think that could have worked.
Yeah, they're British tag champions before as well. I can't believe I didn't think of that.
So, but
Yano and Ishii for the sake of it.
Yano and Ishii be great.
I wouldn't.
I wouldn't
sleep on Tenzan and Kojima either.
I was going to say I wouldn't sleep on Makabe and Henara.
Makabe and Henara?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Makabe's is experienced.
It's true. Former tag champion himself. We'll have to see what happens anyway, so it should be interesting tournaments now. We'll finish off the news with a really interesting story concerning CM Punk.
Yes, CM Punk is back in mixed martial arts, but not in the way that you know or you think.
Or you'd realise.
Oh, yeah. Former WWE star Phil CM Punk Brooks is returning to MMA this December. New Jersey-based Cage Fury Fighting Championships, CFCC for short, announced on Thursday that Punk will be the colour commentator for the company's Friday, December 14th debut show on UFC Fight Pass, alongside play-by-play man Mike Gill. From the company's press release, he says, "I can't wait for this opportunity to call CFFC fights on UFC Fight Pass," said Punk. CFFC has a long history of putting on exciting fights featuring some of the sport's up-and-coming athletes. This card is going to be a lot of fun, and I'm really excited to have the chance to be part of it. Punk famously made his MMA debut in UFC in September 2016 with a first-round submission loss to Mickey Gall at UFC 203, then followed up nearly 2 years later with a loss to Mike Jackson by decision at UFC 225. The 40-year-old has been non-committal about his in-cage future, while being more firm on his decision not to return to pro wrestling.
It's a new route for him certainly to take, and certainly with it in MMA, because...
Well, I just remember his time when he was commentating in WWE, and I thought he was fantastic.
Yeah, he's not half bad at all, so...
So I don't see why he can't do well on this. And
certainly, just because he didn't do well in UFC, like, you know, doesn't mean he doesn't know his cage fighting. Like, you know, like he'd be similar. Like let's say if you compare him to, and it's probably not a weird comparison, but him to Joe Rogan. Now, Joe Rogan was never a professional fighter either. He's trained in all these. He's trained in all these arts.
Trains in everything and studies it inside out.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah. So what I mean is, over time, he could be like that. Maybe. Who knows? He could have the most famous podcast in the world. Who knows after that? So,
no, because it's not Air Podcast.
What?
What?
Let's not compare our podcast to Joe Rogan. Have you heard his podcast lately? It's fantastic.
Joe Rogan's podcasts are awesome.
Yeah.
They're just so long. That's the only problem. Like, you have to
pick the right ones.
Yeah, you have to take 2 or 3 visits. You know. Yeah, for you it's always Joey Diaz. You just love Joey Diaz.
Not just Joey Diaz. If you heard his ones with Jordan Peterson. Yeah. Very insightful. Yeah. Like, you know, so like...
I do like the way he gets, like, both sides of views on it. Like, he has, like...
But if you want a man to take inspiration from, and forgive me for going off topic, but if you want to find a guy who is as calm as possible under conflict, there's your man right there.
You know which podcast you should listen to, or not even listen to. You know how he puts them on YouTube?
Yeah.
You should watch it.
What's going on?
Is this one with Alex Jones?
Oh, the 911 one. That's with Eddie Bravo as well.
Yeah. Unbelievable. He gets so high and so drunk, Alex Jones, that everyone knows he's a conspiracy crackpot in the first instance, but he ramps up to like level 100.
But is he like what on that show? Was he like what he was on, you know, on his own show when he goes when he's incredibly strange?
No.
When he's really, really strange to the point where Stephen Colbert like impersonates him. No? He's
actually a calm guy now. He has.
So I imagine that was all an act anyway.
Yeah, he was. I think the police threatened to arrest him one day because many people put in complaints about his show, but he had to like confirm to the police that he doesn't believe in any of his theories. He only puts this on because it generates revenue.
Yeah.
So. you know, people will do anything for a few bucks, like time travel.
Like you're contradicting yourself there. But no, going back to Punk, I mean, it's interesting to see how we'll get on with it anyway. So, and certainly, like, something like commentary, and imagine the UFC have a hand in them being involved in that. Like, certainly if he's
on the Fight Pass, yeah.
If he's encouraged to talk about Fight Pass anyway, like they're starting them low. I think, did you ever see the...
Well, Joe Rogan has said he doesn't have much time left at the UFC.
That's
he
true.
doesn't want to spend all of his time there, so they'll need someone else.
So, a long-term replacement, if you like. So
getting them ready.
Yeah, and exactly, and I think CFFC,
yeah.
They were involved when... Do you ever see Dana White looking for a fight on YouTube? Very good, actually, if you want to like see it. What he like it's him, Matt Serra, and Dean Thomas, who go around to all these different places in America and sometimes in Europe, but I think it's mostly America. And they look up all the up and coming talents. There's no one that I know particular that was on it that's on it now.
Mickey Gall was on it.
Mickey Gall was on it. Yeah, that's how that came about. Yeah, but that other guy with the spiky hair, I forget his name. You know who I'm talking about? The guy who could do somersaults and he was taught karate since he was 2 or something like that. But whatever the case, like it's an entertaining show, but it's been on and off lately, so we'll see what happens. All the same. Anyway, let's move on now to our previews of the week.
Why, look at what we have here, folks!
So there's more gigs, there's more events coming up very shortly. Of course, this Saturday is one of the biggest. Of course, OTT are back for Redemption, happening today, November 10th, at the Arena, Slur Road in Dublin. There's still tickets available on eventbrite.ie. There's still priority entry and general admission tickets still available, so get them while you can. There's really a stacked cards from top to bottom. I mean, you have Aussie Open and Travis Banks versus all 3 members of More Than Hype. You may have noticed that's where we got our idea for our opening this week. Of what was it again?
I'm a Blair boy. Get me out of here.
So the Blair boys against the Aussie boys. Be Cool against Justy 1-on-1. That's finally settling their rivalry once and for all. Who knows?
In a match of Justy's choice.
Oh, is it? I didn't notice that.
Yeah.
That's interesting, actually. I missed that part there. You had the lads in the flats against Club Tropicana. Scotty Davis against Tyler Bates. Angel Cruz versus Jimmy Havoc in a death match. Trent Seven versus Dan Barry. Raven Creeds to defend her OTT women's title against Lana Austin. And the main event, Jordan Devlin and David Starr to take on Timothy Thatcher and Walter 1-on-1. There's a few matches announced for Belfast. The Belfast card at the end of next month. They announced that David Starr will be taking on Elder Dragunov, for example.
Yep.
That's a good match.
That's a good match.
That's a very good match.
Don't forget the Walter versus Bonesaw match.
That's going to be a class match. It's a very intriguing match for sure anyway, so we'll see what happens.
They announced the main event for Contenders as well.
Yes, it was.
6-man tag, More Than Hype against Sean Guinness,
Masato Nakata,
and
Michael May, I think.
Michael May.
It's a very good match.
Yeah.
So it should be interesting there. So a lot of good matches coming up for OTT. Happening also this Saturday, and then in Belfast, Limelight, and then on Sunday, November 11th at the Tivoli Dublin is Edge Inside the Ropes. Tickets are still available for that at eventbrite.ie. Again, if you've ever been familiar with an Inside the Ropes event, it's basically where you have all these maybe just retired wrestlers almost, if you like. Mm-hmm. And here's Edge, is one of the biggest of our time growing up, like, if you like, you know, talking about his stories behind WWE. So Imagine how many people who go to that would be more into Vikings than wrestling.
There's probably going to be a fair few.
That's the thing, like, so because that's he's known more.
He spends a lot of his time over here for filming it.
That's it, yeah. So I was like, oh, so when's the next Vikings?
Yeah.
Is that big for a show though? Like, I was on it before, but I'm not aware of it myself. So
I think it is big enough. I've never watched an episode. I've always been mean to it. It's kind of, I've been told it's kind of like a lighter, easier to follow version of Game of Thrones. So
that's a good example, yeah, because it has that medieval aura to it, but it's nowhere near as violent. Or nowhere near
not even violent, just easier to follow.
Or nowhere near exposed, if that either. Like
exposed.
You know what I mean by that. Happening next Saturday already. They're coming up next Saturday, November 17th. Courage Wrestling will be back for their second event at the Right Venue, Swords in Dublin. Tickets are available at eventbrite.ie. Only one match announced so far. TK Cooper, Dmitry Krakovic and Julian Pace from Germany will be facing a triple threat match.
There has been a second match announced. I saw on Twitter there, Nathan Byrne is going to be coming back after having a great match with BT Gunn.
Okay.
He is going to be going up against Chris Ridgway.
Oh, that's a very good match.
Yeah.
That should be very interesting. See what happens there. Of course,
and we're all waiting to see.
Of course, the rival of Pac. Pac will be making.
Can I call him by his Twitter name?
What is his Twitter name? Don't call him WWE Neville.
No. Do you have that elevator music? And I'll say
the elevator music.
Yeah, get the elevator music.
Hang on a second. That's the best Twitter name ever. Oh God! I mean, at least he's not afraid to get himself, or whatever the case. Like, so anyway, it's going to be Pac, Joe Coffey, Tucker, Jesse Gabbert, Shauna, Spike Trevette, Club Rock Shandy, and Retro Galactic also set to appear on that as well. So
Spike Trevette was just came out of nowhere though, really, didn't he? It wasn't properly announced. He was just showing onto the show. I can't wait.
Should be interesting.
He's going to be class.
Happening on Monday, November 19th at Buskers in the Ball. Low Blows for the first time for their No Border Mondays will be having WWE Survivor Series. Now, the tickets are available at eventbrite.ie, free of course for Low Blows Network subscribers. So it's the reason that they'll be starting this event slightly earlier because they'll be starting doors open for this at 4:30 with the main card starting at 6:30. That's because they'll be having their famous Survivor Series style table quiz available to play. They'll also be having WWE 2K19 available to play on the venue as well. Of course, as always, they'll be having No Temple Bar drinks for booze and food as well. So it should be
No Temple Bar prices.
Prices.
Yeah.
Prices. Did I say it wrong there?
You said No Temple Bar drinks.
God, that's a horrible thing to say. How dare I say such a thing?
I know, right?
Slap myself in the
I
hand
normally
for that.
let you away with stuff like that, but I had to stop you there.
I didn't let you away
I
for.
had to stop you there.
There you go. I'm calling you out on a lot of stuff this morning today, so to be fair, it's a lot of stuff. Finally happening in our events this week, or previous this week I should say, Phoenix Wrestling will be back for their event Is It Politically Correct to Shout Suck It, happening on Saturday, November 24th. They're returning to Doran's warehouse in Limerick.
I hope they're paying whoever comes up with the show names well.
It's so good, isn't it?
They deserve to be paid well for
it. Tickets are available at eventbrite.ie or in Hard Knocks Tattoo Studio in Limerick. We have no matches announced so far, but it should be very interesting to see what happens there because it's after their first time around.
Yeah, after what happened last time.
Yeah.
So let's see. Hopefully there's no boxers in the crowd there.
They're probably going to be.
That won't overstep their marks.
We'll see what happens in that event as well. Anyway, that's we're going to take a quick break. When we return, we will continue our show with our top 10 of the week right after a short break.
You're listening to the Electronic Media Collective Podcast Network. Yeah, it's a mouthful. For more great shows, visit electronicmediacollective.com.
Oh my God! So close! He kicked out! He kicked out! He kicked out!
Tune in to The Kickout, your weekly pro wrestling guides, right here on 90.3 Near FM, covering all the latest news, results, previews, rumours, and more from the world of professional wrestling, as well as covering the wrestling scene right here in Ireland. Join us every Saturday afternoon at 4:30 p.m. right here on 90.3 Near FM.
In the future, roving bands of comic book podcasts will savage the wasteland, once known as the Internet. One podcast, the Grawlix Podcast, may not be the biggest, may not be the funniest, may not be the most well-spoken. Wait, what was my point again? Oh yes, the Grawlix Podcast. Listen to it at grawlixpodcast.com. That's GRAWLIX podcast.com.
We're back here on The Kickouts, your weekly pro wrestling guides. Now let's continue on with our top 10 of the week. So we have a fair bit to talk about this week, from all bits and pieces from the from wrestling. We're going to start off in at number 10 with the situation concerning Kurt Angle and Drew McIntyre, or well, certainly Angle and Baron Corbin on Raw. Like, now it's great now, like I think we're both agreed it's awesome that Drew McIntyre seems to be getting that push now. I feel like he seems to be the main guy involved now with this match. He seems to be the figurehead for Raw in this match, I feel like now, certainly. But like it seems like there was rumors. Remember that all those rumors before about? I heard rumors about Baron Corbin team versus a Kurt Angle team on Survivor Series. Doesn't seem to be the case anymore now. So
no, it doesn't look like it.
I'm not complaining, to be fair, but don't seem to either by that facial expression. But
they've clearly not cared about about Survivor Series. So why should we? They put no effort into it because they've had all these other events. Because only one happened in the last week anyway that they focused on.
What are you talking about?
Which was Evolution.
What are you talking about?
Exactly.
Yep. We don't even need to talk about that. And that's over and done with as far as we're concerned. And the fact that we're mentioning this means it had nothing to do with it as far as I'm concerned.
I was only mentioning Evolution.
What?
I was only mentioning Evolution.
Good. Good. But anyway, like, here's the thing about Kurt Angle, though, like, you know, and I love the fact that he's fighting with all he had in this, like, you know. And here's McIntyre obviously proving himself, like, as he rightly should. Yeah. So as far as we're concerned, push him.
This was a huge sort of...
just say it.
It's a huge moment.
For what?
For McIntyre.
Yeah, of course.
I think this is the... like, to be so dominant over Angle in a victory like that, I think shows that...
To the point where he's showing contempt to him, yeah.
Yeah, this lad's getting pushed. I'm getting pushed.
Now, if you look at the other side of that, now look at Kurt Angle here. Now, I like the fact that he's fighting as much as he can to try and wrestle as often as he can. But I just can't help but think sometimes that his body isn't willing for it anymore. You get that feeling with him sometimes.
He is in his 40s. Like,
you know what I mean? Yeah.
You've got to remember.
And
that.
Don't get me wrong, it was a good match, and it told a good story, and accomplished the goal of putting Drew over.
I think the way that he just... See, I've said it since he came back, and you've seen it more often. It just shows by the way he stands and the way he walks. Like, he's not able for it. He's kind of like he's making sure his back is overly straight. He's making sure his knees are always bent and stuff. He's compensating for a lot of obviously injuries that he's had over the years, including obviously the broken freaking neck. And it's all just catching up on him now. That's
the thing now. So. And again, I've all the respect in the world for it, especially considering the effort he puts in.
It's always the same when people get a legend coming back to wrestle. They unfairly, and I don't think they do this on purpose. I think they do it subconsciously. That they compare what he's like now to what he was like then, because when they see someone coming back, whether it be say Angle, whether it be Taker, whether it be even Trish Stratus, whether it be even Lita, that you subconsciously think back to what they were in the heyday, and that's the bar that you're setting right there. Yeah. And it's an unfair bar, but like I said, it's not people doing it on purpose. It's just a subconscious thing because you have these great memories, and that's why people are left maybe a little disappointed when they do come back and wrestle. Yeah.
But again, as I said to you, like I can't have enough respect for Kirk considering his effort he's trying to put in to try and prove everyone wrong, and in a way it's a good thing that he's against someone like McIntyre, because you have to remember as well, Angle and McIntyre go back to days in Impact, so they've had some fantastic matches back then. I saw one or two of them on YouTube.
Well, so he had a match against some guy called Galloway.
Oh yeah,
it wasn't. I don't think he ever had a match with Drew McIntyre. He had a match with a guy called Drew Galloway.
Or maybe Drew Galloway knows Drew McIntyre must have told him good things. That's all I'm trying to say.
They could be mates.
But anyway, but the point is, like, you know, the thing is, I personally, I'm looking at it thinking, okay, now I'm not saying he can't work full stop. I'm just saying maybe it's worth considering, depending on the opponent who you put him in there with, as a singles competitor. That's all I'm saying. Yeah. Like, and it'll still probably be good, just as good, but just be careful. Like, that's all I'm saying. Like, you know, so I have to see what happens. Like, you know, and it's hard for me to say that, but at the same time, it's with concern and love for Kurt Angle that you want to say that. You know what I'm trying to say?
I know what you mean. Yeah.
So we'll move on at that point. In at number 9, Nikki Cross's SmackDown debut.
Yeah. It was great, wasn't it?
It was. Now, does this mean like she's fully on SmackDown or not? Because now she's starting this rivalry with Candice LeRae on NXT.
Yeah. Well, maybe not a rivalry, maybe just a match. But I hope she's there now for good.
Well, certainly, I liked the fact that she was introduced by Sanity, with Sanity there. So you had.
Well, if you were ever going to call her up, that had to be.
Yeah, so it made sense.
And like maybe it could be the sort of. Remember last year when WWE had their shows in England, they debuted Pete Dunne on the main roster, but then he went down to NXT and he's been on NXT since then.
Pretty much.
Maybe we're going to get something like that. It could be where Nikki Cross, because of course she's from Scotland, it's a home debut of sorts in Manchester,
right?
You know, in the UK, it'd be the perfect time for her to show up and to debut. I just hope she's going to be there every week now.
I personally am not sure. Like I I understand why it would make sense for it was perfect timing in the sense where it's in the UK and Sansa there with her, but to be there for her if she makes her full debut anyway. Like, you know, and she gave Becky a really good match. Like, you know, Becky, of course, we'll talk more about Becky's bits later on, Becky's segment, I should say, during the show. But like, you know, it was a really good match, like, where she had with Becky. But, I don't know, like, you know, unless she had nothing to do or she compared out of nowhere, then I'd say absolutely shouldn't be no problem. But because she's really in depth with the story involving Gargano and Aleister Black, with LeRae as well, I think it should be another while. That's just my take on it. Like, I don't know about yourself.
I'm not sure. We'll have to wait and see. I think maybe it could just be up until War Games, and maybe after War Games she'll be on the main roster. Could be something like that. We'll find out, though.
We'll see. And number 8, NXT UK. Now, again, they're doing double episodes again this week, which is it's hard to track, I imagine, but like you know, it's certainly interesting anyway. So here's just a rundown what happened anyway over the last couple of weeks, like for the last 2 shows, I should say. So you have Dave Mastiff winning an enhanced match in the first show, Lothario beating James Jake. Wolfgang and the Coffees now, they're continuing this. They remember I said last week that they're sort of like having a bit of a trios now stable with them.
I didn't know that there was a double show.
Yeah,
I
happened last week as well.
I tried to sit down and watch a show. Now it's obviously difficult because I don't have the network anymore, but that's personal reasons.
Yeah.
I only saw one of the shows, and it was the show that Devlin was on.
Yeah.
And it was kind of more just like YouTube highlights, where I think Tony Storm was going up against Dakota Kai as well. So yeah.
Thanks for your time, traveler machine. He's a machine, by the way.
What?
He's a machine, by the way. Actually, of course, you're not going to tell me at this stage.
It's a DeLorean.
Coming from someone who's never heard of Doctor Who. What's a DeLorean? Something you smoke off?
DeLorean's from Back to the Future, you crazy man.
Oh, sorry, I'm talking about. No, you're right. I'm wrong. No, you're right. Fair enough. I forgot there was such thing as Back to the Future for 2 seconds. My bad.
Dave.
What? You know what? You thought Doctor Who had a Vape. We're even now, I suppose.
Well, see, I've never watched the show, so it's okay for me to be like that. You obviously have seen Back to the Future.
I have no excuse. 1.5 one. So Wolfgang and the Coffees beat down Ashton Smith during his entrance. He was supposed to have a match, and then they made a promo saying, "Oh, we're going to impose our will in NXT UK, and no one can stop us." And they said they'll face Andrews, Webster, and Smiths the next week. This among the headlines you said. Eddie Dennis won his NXT debut, and then Pete Dunne retained his UK title against Danny Burch in a very good back and forth match. Like, it was really, really good match. Like, so it was actually like it was really a good effort for British strong style in terms of the strikes and submissions and stuff like that. So it was a class match. So as you've seen episode 6, so Toni Storm beat Dakota Kai in a good match. Both had their moments. I really enjoyed it. But then Jeannie made her debut, saying this is her NXT by beating up Kai afterwards.
The thing I didn't like about this, and it was only a small thing, a really, really small thing.
What's that?
But obviously Ginny comes out and perfect heel, beats down the person. She goes like, "This is my NXT." Standing at the stage. The stage is basically from where I am to you right now. And Toni Storm's looking at her, like, "Oh, if I was close to you, I'd beat you up." She's right there. Right there, like.
I still think they're trying to figure that out, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
bear in mind they're changing venues.
The distance was no more than me and you, and like I'm probably about 2 arms lengths away from you.
They had that in NXTs in America when it's not in Full Sail. Let's bear that in mind. When it's a different venue. Here's something you need to bear in mind about NXT UK right now. Because they're changing the venue a lot, and because they're still figuring out their regular roster in terms of who they're doing storylines, it's something that's not going to take a time to fully adjust. No, it's like right there. Like Jenny is just right there. What I'm trying to say,
you could probably get on the top rope, jump, and you'd probably at the same level where the stage is and get her. No bother.
What I'm trying to say though is that if it was like NXT in America, where they have their same venue every week, or at least a similar setup like every week, it would be easier to figure this stuff out without the logical difference of distance between ring and stage.
I know what you're trying to get. I know what you're trying to get at, but then isn't that sort of like lazy writing on their part if they can't use their environment? Like, it's not as if you just showed up and you had to think of how this is going to play out on the fly. They've obviously had the thoughts about how to introduce Ginny for a while,
right?
Or how they want to have a Ginny and Tony Storm program together,
right?
Why couldn't it have been like Tony Storm is having a backstage interview? There's enough there to talk about with her saying, oh, first of all, by the way, congrats on winning the Mae Young Classic. How do you feel? A really tough test against Dakota Kai.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that? What's your plans for NXT UK? Oh, look, there's Ginny. She's attacked Tony Storm out of nowhere. There you go.
All right. Do you know WWE are looking for new writers right now? I'm not joking you right now.
I know they are. I know. Declan Byrne's gone first, so I'm not getting in trouble, definitely not.
Zach Gibson beat Amir Jordan. Afterwards, he said he will be the one who will elevate NXT UK until Trent Seven arrives, saying that Gibson was not to be found when the whole thing started, and he couldn't get the job done despite winning the UK tournament this year. He challenged him, but
basically
Gibson pondered.
Mark.
Pretty much, yeah.
Basically.
Jordan Devlin continued his winning ways, beating Kenny Williams. I like his new finisher, by the way. It's like I don't know what to describe it. It's like a weird version of the Death Valley Driver.
It is, yeah. It's kind of... It's kind of like a Death Valley Driver mixed with sort of Pete Dunne's sort of bitter end as well.
There's a mix to it, yeah.
Yeah. I guess he can't do the other one because it's too much like the Tyler Driver. 90... Was it Tyler Driver in 98 or something like that? It's called
something like that.
Something, whatever crazy year Tyler Bate was born.
I think it's 97.
Anyway. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. And in Wolfgang and the Coffees beat Andrews, Webster and Smith in a good match despite the good fight from the baby faces. That's setting up for the British Strong Style. I think British Strong Style against, ironically, we didn't even against Scotland. It's ICW against Progress probably right there. So it should be interesting. Anyway, in at number 7, AOP are new Raw Tag Team Champions.
Yeah,
what do you think
they
of
do
that
like doing a bit of a title change when they're over in England. Of course, it was the WWE Championship last year. They go for the tag team. I understand they have to do it.
Yeah,
they kind of have to.
It made sense.
Yeah,
it made sense. Of course, Seth Rollins arrived with both titles, and he said he agrees to what happened was he was considering giving up the titles there and then, but then Corbin said no, you have to defend your titles right now, and it was against AOP. And I have no problem whatsoever with.
I like Corbin as a heel general manager.
I can't stand him. I can't stand him. Therefore, he's good.
Yeah.
So it is a strength for him, like, you know. It was a great performance from Rollins in this match, I have to say, and I am happy AOP won it. Like, you know, the only thing I'd say though. Because it was a big good performance from Rollins against a team like AOP who are so physically dominating, does it not solidify them as monsters who should theoretically run through Rollins despite his like how good he is?
Yeah,
does that make sense?
They should run through Rollins, and they should like.
So what I'm trying to say, they gave Rollins too much equality with the audience.
No, they gave him a chance, which was what they wanted, you know.
Yeah. So, like, in my opinion, if they have a rematch, certainly, which I don't
know how they're gonna have a rematch.
Yeah, they won't. Yeah. But what I'm trying to say, next defense they make AOP have a dominant performance instead of giving the challengers the gutsy performance.
They've been dominating everybody.
I know, but not now. Like that's later on. Like now they win the titles. Give them dominance while they win the titles. You know what I'm trying to say?
But what I'm trying to say is that they've dominated everybody. That there's no real legitimate contender there.
That's a good point. We'll see more. Like about the Raw tag team. The Survivor Series match for the tag teams. That's one thing we'll probably look into that more. But you look at SmackDown already compared to Raw.
I'm just thinking of
Revival probably is the closest thing, maybe.
No, I was just thinking of like they're doing the tag team champions against each other.
Yeah.
Big Show versus Drake Maverick. Battle of the Valleys.
That's literally David versus Goliath.
Oh, stop, man.
In every way, shape and form imaginable.
Yeah.
Anyway, obviously the match after the post-match, Ambrose arrived once again, almost revealing why he did what he did before laying out Dirty Dirts, saying nothing once again.
Yeah.
It drags on, we'll see what happens. In at number 6, now away from WWE, the Elite are now officially not part of the Bullet Club.
Yeah. They are no longer the Bullet Club. They are now the Elite.
Now, they announced this during Jericho's cruise.
Yeah. He was doing a live podcast, I think, and that's when they properly announced it. And they've gone on Twitter since. I see Hangman Page put on something there recently. I think the Bucks and the rest of them did say, I no longer now want to be associated with being in the Bullet Club. I enjoyed my time there, but now I'm part of the Elite.
Which is strange because Hangman Page is tagging with Takahashi in the tag league.
Yeah, Takahashi obviously mustn't be a member of the Bullet Club either.
Maybe he's Elite as well.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is though, the Elite is taking a life of its own. Like certainly in the last year.
Yeah.
Like, you know, with Omega, the Bucks, and Ibushi. So, like, you know, it is what it is now. And Bullet Club are fine. Like, they'll be fine. Like, now they are legit. Like, as Cody said at the start of the year, now they're fine. Because now they're going back to the OGs and the redevelopment stage with Tama Tonga and Tongaroa and Bad Luck Fale and Ishimori.
Yeah.
They'll be fine. They'll redevelop. They'll easily have new people in. It's probably the best thing for it. So it's exciting times for both. Like, for me personally, as a Bullet Club fan, I'm excited by this.
Yeah,
because I'm curious to see.
I wonder how bad everybody feels now that who had like a Kenny, Young Bucks, Marty Scurll Bullet Club T-shirt.
Well, you're one of them, for example.
I know. Yeah, I have all three of them.
Straight into ProWrestlingTees.ie. Get yourself a Firing Squad T-shirts.
No, I've got way too many wrestling T-shirts. I've stopped. I haven't bought a wrestling T-shirt in months. Really? I'm going to keep it like that now for a while, I think.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Anyway, in at number 5,
not like I don't want to. It's just
you just wish not to.
I just have too many at the moment. You know,
suits you, sir. Suits you. I hardly have any.
Well, that's not my fault. You better go and get yourself some more then, shouldn't you?
I'll try my best. But in at number 5, NXT had some really good talking points this week. The main ones that we should talk about, though. Well, first of all, we have to mention Johnny Gargano's promo. It's a contender for promo of the year.
Can I just mention the scheduling issue?
Of course.
You know,
we've
been making jokes about it for the majority of the show.
Pretty much. Now we'll break kayfabe with this.
Yeah, like you would have noticed if you saw both shows this week. NXT UK was on at 8 PM airtime on Wednesday night. Dakota Kai was on that against Tony Storm, as we talked about.
Yeah.
And then NXT later, 12 o'clock at night, 1 AM, I don't know. I didn't watch it live, or it's not even.
Whatever the case,
she was on that show as well.
Yeah,
I think she was against
Tayara Conte.
Tayara Conte, thank you. Like, come on, lads.
So she's
organise your shows better.
Miraculously, she just recovered from an attack from Genie by ads.
Exactly,
and still
got on a plane. A plane ride that takes about 8 hours. She got there in 4. Got through customs and got to Full Sail University on time for a match against Conti, showing no ill effects of her match with Toni Storm or her attack by Ginny.
She must have the best sleep ever on that plane.
Just
I know what you mean.
Just lads, come on.
Away from that though,
bit of cop on.
Yeah, I'm with you. I see what you mean though.
Yeah.
Good showing from Conte in that match. Like, she's really improving, by the way. Like, so. Other moments before we mention everything else. It was announced that Baszler will face Kairi Sane in a rematch for War Games 2 out of 3 falls.
2 out of 3 falls, yeah.
So for me, they're the best female rivalry this year in all wrestling for me. So I look forward to that. Candice LeRae was in the PC asking to ask Regal for a mention Nikki Cross. So again, we'll be seeing more of Nikki Cross in NXT eventually. But I can't see the mixing between the two. It's gonna schedule conflicts naturally. I imagine it would anyway. So we'll see what happens there. Mia Yim will take on Bianca Belair next week. That should be a good match. But let's get to Johnny Gargano's promo.
It was great.
One of the promos of the year.
It was great. Loved it.
He said it was collateral damage and nothing personal taking out Black as he was
exactly
in his way.
What I thought it was from the very start. You know, he just Gargano says it how it really was. He wanted to get a champ, but Black was in the way. He had to do it.
It was really. Johnny Gargano to me feels like the real life Eddie, or at least the wrestling's answer to Eddie Brock. Which, if you haven't seen the movie.
What, Venom? Yeah, kind of.
Where he's sort of dabbling with evil a bit.
Kind of, yeah. Yeah.
And he said it himself.
He has the stuff on his ring gear now as well.
He said it himself, no man is ever truly good. How he's the hero in the end of the story.
No, he was mimicking Aleister Black, who says no man is really truly good or evil.
No. Oh, really?
Yeah.
But all the same, it hits a nerve, though. And he said he did one little thing and everyone's freaking out. He said he's not afraid of Black.
That was kind of more like a Joker thing I think he was trying to do there. It's like, I do one little thing and everybody freaks out.
And he says...
It's kind of like things like, when there's a plan, everybody's safe. But when you deviate from the plan, everybody loses their mind.
Oh, dear God. He says he's starting to like living in a dark place before ending the video on where Black was originally left lying, like on that street. So it certainly adds fuel to the fire. Should be a very intense match between the two. Lars Sullivan beat Velveteen Dream in a good match as well, where Dream almost won if it wasn't for the distraction of Ciampa. And after the match, Ciampa attacked Dream, but eventually Dream fought back after fooling the referees to his elbow and posed with the title. So that's going to be intriguing. Personally, I'm it's an interesting match because you think, oh wow, what if Dream actually wins?
I know.
What if? And I say what if loosely because I don't know if he will, but we'll see.
We'll have to wait and find out.
We will. In at number 4, now Survivor Series is starting to build up now, and by far and away, one of the most interesting bits is Becky versus Ronda already, because these two did really good promos this week.
More Becky than Ronda, I think.
Well, certainly we'll say Ronda set a standard and then Becky beat her off, but took it to another level.
Okay.
Ronda said that Becky Lynch wants to rip her arm off and says she finds that adorable and she sees why people love Becky, and she eventually said that she's a natural born killer. She's driven to be the best of all time. She provoked she mimicked like how Becky was going to school and being a stewardess while she was training, winning MMA championships.
Yeah.
And Becky may be the man, but Rousey is the baddest bitch on the planet. But then Becky responded on SmackDown, pretty much responding to everything, saying that Lynch says he's a real champion who fought through diversity, and whereas Ronda hasn't been tested yet. And she responded to the whole how she mocked like her lifestyle and stuff like that, and like Ronda's weak minds will let her down. Lynch has been beaten down more times than she can count, constantly tested and constantly relentless. And whereas Rousey for her journey was just she paid her own way, and she wasn't handpicked like Rousey. She wasn't meant to be in the main event or the talk of the industry, but there she is, the champ, the only champ. And Ronda may think she's the baddest bitch on the planet, but she'll make Ronda's hers. So it's interesting. It really is. The thing I fear about that,
I still think Becky's going to lose.
You know, I hope about this match above anything else isn't like it won't be a squash, that's for sure. It
won't be a squash, but
if Nikki Bella can do that to Rousey, what can Becky Lynch do?
I know
it'll be competitive.
Yeah.
If it's a competitive match, I could care less about the result, honestly.
Fair.
I really could. But once it's a good match, then that's all that matters anyway. And at number 3, going back to SmackDown, Daniel Bryan and The Miz are now co-captains of SmackDown, and I love this.
Who was the clever sod that did that? That clever sod who was also put himself in the match. Yeah. Well done. You know?
You've been serious.
Yeah. It was Shane McMahon's decision. And Shane McMahon put himself in the match then.
You know, he's very humble for a man who was once considered best in the world, but that's another story we would not mention.
Yeah.
But no, so what happened was Daniel Bryan was introduced as a captain, but then Miz came out for some reason limping, we don't know why, but he disagreed with Shane being captain and felt he deserved to be it, and Shane agreed and made them co-captains, and there were situations where they're agreeing with each other and they're almost like, that's weird, we're agreeing with each other.
Yeah. You know who didn't get onto it?
Who?
And he's been going pretty mad on Twitter about it all week.
What's that?
Rusev.
He's a good call for it, yeah. What's he saying?
Rusev says, I beat both Daniel Bryan and The Miz, but yet I still can't even get a qualifying match to get onto the SmackDown team. And then he was talking about how maybe it'd be best for him to move and stuff like that, and he was like, oh, maybe I should go back to NXT because they know how to run a show right there.
It's kind of true. He's speaking from the truth sometimes. Let them vent sometimes, you know. But no, they agreed on how they make their picks and stuff like that. Like, they seem to agree on all decisions they made to a certain point. Like, you know, it was Rey Mysterio who got into the team, and who was Miz's original pick?
Again, Samoa Joe.
No, I mean they made a pick each. I think around. No, sorry. They made two.
Shane, Daniel Bryan.
Oh yes.
The Miz, Rey Mysterio, and then it was a fight between Jeff Hardy and Samoa Joe to see who would be the 5th member.
Yes.
And Samoa Joe won it.
They did.
And then Daniel Bryan put him in the yes lock. And then the Miz took him away. And then this is going to, I bet you, be a double turn.
A double turn.
Miz face, Daniel Bryan heel.
That's a very strong possibility. Be interesting to see what happens there, but that's a really, really good call. We'll have to see what happens there. Yeah. In at number 2 now, going away from WWE for the last 2, we're going to go to New Japan's Power Struggle. Now, we talked about this at the top of the show with the results going into Wrestle Kingdom now, but just give you a rundown of the key matches. So, you had Roppongi 3K win the Super Tag League. It was a great match, actually. Like, you know, Roppongi 3K now are the first tag team in history to win back-to-back Super Junior Tag Leagues. Young Bucks never be able to do that, so fair play to them.
Yeah. And
they feel like there was a path to redemption for them, so fair play to them as well. Good pace in the match, like so it was awesome there. Tomohiro Ishii beat Minoru Suzuki to retain the Rev Pro British Heavyweight title. They never have a bad match. And it shows how pro wrestling can have so many different things and succeeds. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
It was completely different from anything else, certainly, because it was like a very high-paced show, whereas this was like two old war horses throwing everything at each other. Like a brawl, like, you know, like as good as Dunn and Danny Burch was, there's this match. Another brawl for 12 minutes until they worked some traditional pro wrestling, and then some back and forth ass kicking. Like, so a perfect sympathy of violence, one could call it. They had Naito against Zack Sabre Jr., which was a good redemption match for Naito because he was 0-2 going into this match against Sabre Jr. And he finally overcame the man who ruined both his title changes, and now he can move on to Chris Jericho, so it's a good match for him. And speaking of Chris Jericho, he beat Evil to retain his IWGP Intercontinental title. It was a drastic change in direction that Jericho was retaining here, like, because I think a lot of people were speculating that Evil would win this match. Certainly that's what I thought.
No,
think
really?
so? That's what I thought anyway.
No, I didn't think that was going to happen.
But the crowd were invested. That was key anyway, more than anything else.
Yeah.
But anyway, like, the loss doesn't hurt Evil, that's for sure. Like, because it's a mileage will vary on the Jericho brawl style. Like, because that's favouring them so well in Japan at the moment.
Yeah.
Post match though, Jericho keeps the holds on until Naito makes the save, and then later on Naito challenged Jericho until we know the match is happening. So it was a great show. Like, it's definitely, if you haven't watched the Power Struggle show, like, it's definitely a lot of key moments. Other worthy mentions, of course, are Ishimori and Kushida, as we mentioned. They're going to clash for the junior heavyweight title very soon. Yeah. The only thing I'll say at the moment is the never openweight title picture doesn't seem that clear at the moment, because Hiroki Goto won the title here against Taichi, which leads to questions as if to will Ospreay, who will his title shot be against?
Ospreay, but I don't think Ospreay's gonna be wrestling until 2019 at the earliest anyway. So
yeah, I imagine his title shot is still
his title shot's still gonna be there.
The thing is, what I find very interesting about this, if Goto won this match, does that mean by purpose then Ospreay was going to win this match? If you know what I mean?
I wouldn't want to speculate on that. I wouldn't. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe.
We'll have to see what happens. Yeah. Anyway, we'll finish off our top 10 with our number 1 from Fight Factory Pro Wrestling. Now, I know nothing about this. You were at the open day on Saturday, weren't you?
Yeah. Fight Factory, in case people weren't aware, they first of all had an open day for beginners on Saturday from about 12 till just after 2, half 2.
Right.
Which was then going to be followed by a gym show from 4 until I think it was about 5:30. I confess I couldn't go to the show itself because I had to race home because I was going to a family 21st down in the country. So we had to get down there early just because it has to be in the bog arse of nowhere, of course. But really good day. I went down for the training anyway. Really good. As you know, Dave, I went training beforehand for a bit, and for a couple of reasons I stopped. But I think this sort of beginner's day was perfect as like a refresher course.
Yeah,
you know, had who was there? Phil, Katie, the lads from More Than Hype. Were all there. Klong was there as well. You know, really, really good. A really good turnout as well. And they're going to continue that. So if anyone's listening and they actually are interested in maybe getting involved, they're going to continue the beginners classes, because they didn't have a class specifically just for beginners. They had like classes where everyone could go to. And I think at times it put people off going back, because you're kind of thrown in at the deep end.
Yeah.
And then like you're kind of overwhelmed. That was one of the reasons why I stopped for a bit. I was a little overwhelmed by what we had to do and stuff in the ring, and I hadn't really gotten the core stuff down yet before I could do that sort of stuff. But this is really good, taking us through sort of everything. You're going to be doing it every Saturday from 12 till 2:30.
Yeah, they recently announced on their social media their new schedule, or there's certainly the schedule that certainly makes it specific of like beginners to intermediates, or separates the two,
or beginners only. So I'd really recommend, if anyone's thinking about it, or even just wants to see what it's like, go down for the beginners days. You'll have a great time. Everyone's really friendly down there. You get to know people.
Very eager to show you everything as well, aren't they? Like they're very eager to teach.
Exactly. You ever feel they're always keeping an eye out, and if they ever think that they can help you out in any way, they will, of course.
Yeah.
So I fully recommend going down there.
So
it's only down there near Marino College.
Yeah, it's up the road from us.
It's only down the road. You can get most buses to it. You just get off the Marino College stop, and then it's just down to the right, and then another left, and then you're there.
You mean left and left?
Depends on what stop you get off at.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
but it's just on one of the sides of the bridges, and then it's an Osprey Road. So, but anyway, we can't recommend Vibe Factory Boston enough. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, so we can't recommend them highly enough. Like, for us, they're not only one of the best schools, but like they're one of the best teachers, or one of the best minds for wrestling. So like we can't recommend them enough. So if you haven't thought about it already, we recommend it. So that's all we can say to that. But anyway, that's our top 10. Now let's finish off our show with our yes no's. There's actually a really good fair amount of yes no's, so we'll try and get through them very quickly.
I love doing these.
Adam Page turning down Ring of Honor contracts, which is interesting considering what you said earlier on about him staying in the Elite, and particularly interesting because in the World Tag League. Now, is this just mean he's just going to be in New Japan?
I don't know.
Because
he might go exclusive to New Japan. It wouldn't surprise me if he did.
Let's bear in mind as well.
They're playing off with the. Did you see the latest being the Elites and stuff?
I haven't, but I have heard that recently both the Bucks and Cody have turned down Ring of Honor contracts as well.
Yeah. They've been playing off the whole Triple H trying to recruit them thing. They actually did, and I'm convinced. I think it's almost certain it was Sami Callihan from the back, because with a leather jacket it looks similar. The Sami Callihan burst into a room with a sledgehammer and spit out water into where Cody is, and Cody was trying to run away from him. It's brilliant. You should watch it. It's great.
I haven't watched it in a while, but meaning to.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Should be interesting.
I think that they can't go to. They wouldn't go to WWE, but then I think it's something they probably could.
Bear in mind that Hangman Page has been with Ring of Honor longer than any of those guys, because he's been there since he was 19. I think 7 years now. So
yeah, the one thing that I think would happen, why I think would happen, is the one thing that you always see on the Being the Elite videos is instances of both Matt and Nick talking into the camera, talking about, we're on here for 2 weeks, we're going home for 2 days, then we're gone for another 2 weeks, or we're going home for 24 hours, then we're gone for another 3 days. They're not spending a lot of time at home. It's WWE, they could probably work out their own schedule where they spend more time at home, because their kids are getting into those important years now as well. They're going to school and stuff like that, and I'm sure they want to be there for that.
So we'll see what happens anyway. So now, we talked about this briefly earlier on, The Miz to turn heel or Bryan to turn heel.
Yeah, double turn.
What if it was just one?
I don't think
what was Miz to turn face or Bryan to turn heel?
I think you got to do both.
Be very interesting, wouldn't it?
I don't know how Miz is going to work as a face, though.
That's the thing. Bryan I can see as a heel. We've seen Bryan as a heel before, but we've never ever seen Miz as a heel, ever, as a face, ever.
Yeah, we have.
When
Ric Flair was training him and stuff like that, remember that?
What was that?
That was a good few years ago.
The point is, we don't remember. So it was, we don't certainly, since he's been a solo wrestler, we don't remember being a face. So it'd be interesting to see. But speaking of Miz to be in early favourites to win the Royal Rumble next year, because there's severe rumours going around of Miz versus AJ at WrestleMania.
Why not?
I'm all for it. It's for the title as well.
Yeah, why not? I like, it's way too early to even think about Royal Rumble season, but it's
getting closer. It's getting closer to that time.
It's not till the end of January, so
it's getting closer to that time of year, and it's not the one you're thinking of.
I've got so many more weeks of NFL to worry about before I can worry about the Royal Rumble.
Now, we talked about this briefly off air.
By the way, actually, just non-wrestling point, and I know if anybody who's in the Low Blows Fantasy Football League, I am now one of the top seeds in it. I am coming for that title. My first year in the Fantasy Football Lowe's Bowl, I am coming for that title.
You're top seed in both the wrestling and the football now,
I'm second in the wrestling. Yeah, about 10 points behind.
Yeah, I'm far behind.
I didn't have a good evolution.
Yeah, I don't think I did it well either. But anyway, going back to this, we talked about this briefly off air. Strowman not Universal Champion due to injury.
Not what I'm hearing.
Should we talk about
it? Supposedly he's his own worst enemy. That's what Mike Johnson of PW Insider.
By reports.
Yeah. He see, this is difficult, especially when you're when you come not so much cold, but like, he wasn't training for years. He was doing other things, and then he decided to come into wrestling. That he's not following certain etiquette, like showing up late, leaving early. Certain wrestling etiquette that he's not following as well.
I see.
So there's a few things there that are making management cool their interest on him.
Certainly, if that's the type of thing that's stopping from being a champion, I imagine like he'd be aware of this eventually.
Yeah, well, I'm sure someone would have had a word in his eir, because
sure, at the stage,
if you want to be the guy who's the face of the company, you got to act like it.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what Roman did. That's what John Cena did. That's what The Rock did.
And for God's sake, we don't want to see Brock as champion again, so come on.
Brock doesn't do that, but I think Brock just does whatever he wants.
Pretty much, yeah. But in all seriousness, we do know he's having trouble with his knees at the moment now. So
suppose his knees are shot, yeah.
Yeah, so he could be out for a while as well. So let's see what happens. It'll be interesting to see. Now he's booked for the Survivor Series match coming up.
Yeah.
With on Baron Corbin.
Would it be better to have surgery now if needed, obviously, and to risk losing it for WrestleMania when you've already lost the likes of Roman and Triple H anyway, or do you wait till after WrestleMania?
I have no idea. That's a tough one. Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know. I have to see what happens.
You know, this is slowly starting to become like, remember WrestleMania in Dallas? I think it was 31 or 32.
Yeah,
the really bad one, mostly because they had so many injuries.
Yeah.
It's starting. It might could become that.
Well, let's not jinx it. We'll see what happens anyway. So, Naito offered a contract by WWE.
I've heard about this.
This is so funny.
I heard about this. They went to Japan to meet him, and halfway after he had his dinner, he said he was going to the bathroom. He left then
through the back door
and left them with the bill and
that
everything.
That is so tranquilo.
If that's true, that's brilliant.
Yeah, that's a way to turn down an offer, and they had to pay, and the officials had to pay for it. It's even worse. So because it was halfway through a meal,
they would have had to pay for it, really.
Yeah. Apparently, they offered him this contract after he lost the IC title to Jericho.
Oh, really?
Which is ironic, which is very ironic.
Yeah.
But I can't see Naito ever going to WWE.
No,
I could be wrong, but maybe not.
He said it himself that is like he's already in the best company in the world and stuff. He's saying like the right things. That I don't think he's going to go anywhere.
Yeah. Neville to join the Bullet Club. Now, we recently heard as well during this show that Neville is back on Twitter. And one of the people to congratulate him or say hi to him was Tama Tonga.
A lot of people did. Seth Rollins also commented on it.
Well, Tama Tonga in particular. He's always said he's recruiting.
I know.
And
I'd like to see it.
Absolutely.
I don't think it will. I think he's happy in Dragon Gate for the moment.
Yeah, he's challenging for their title actually very soon.
I wouldn't be surprised the night after Wrestle Kingdom something happens there.
You never know.
You know, like a night, because they always do surprises there, especially like a night after WrestleMania or a night after Wrestle Kingdom. We'll see something.
Here's the thing: can you see him competing as a junior heavyweight or as a heavyweight?
No, heavyweight.
Because the thing, if he joins Bullet Club, it sort of defeats the purpose of Ishimori as well.
Yeah.
So maybe not.
It'd be a heavyweight.
Triple H and Batista cancels. Now, obviously, somehow Triple H injured his pectoral. I have no idea how. But
did you see the bruise?
Oh, it was awful.
God.
Like his whole chest and arm were bruised, so it's nasty. But there was speculation that this match would happen at WrestleMania, so is that off the table now altogether?
Obviously.
Looks like it now.
That's like a 9-month recovery right there.
Yeah, so.
And
finally, Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker cancels.
Yep.
Yeah,
and I don't want to see it.
Well, not only that, but a certain match has made Shawn Michaels decide that it's not the best thing. So, or a certain match the weekend.
I think that's a certain right choice,
because I think he based his decision whether to continue having another match based on this match. And
what match?
Exactly. On that note, that's all the time we have this week on The Kickouts, your weekly pro wrestling guides, right here on 90.3 near FM, the EMC Podcast Network, and all good podcasting providers. Make sure to check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Check out where you can find all our podcast content on Podbeam, iTunes, YouTube, and Spotify. Check out my Twitter at Dave Bandana and Dar's at
Mars Bar.
You know, it's been a quietish week, but we still had a fair amount to talk about. We still went well over an hour, so we're doing alright. So
yeah, it always helps when you're able to talk shit.
Talk shit. You use that word carefully. Yeah. Anyway, we'll be back next week. We have a lot to cover next week. Actually, we'll be back to talk about OTT as well. Like, it should be an awesome show and more speculation. Now we can what I feel more at ease about is now we can finally go behind that awful chapter of what we won't speak of. Exactly.
What chapter?
Exactly. And now we can just focus now on everything going forward. There's a lot to look forward to, like as we said, OTT, but Survivor Series as well. So I don't know about you, but I'm relieved now that's over and done with now. So because it just felt weird and uncomfortable.
What are you relieved about? What are you relieved
exactly about? Anyway, we'll be back next week as usual. Until then, I'm Dave Cullen. He's been Daragh Maher. This has been The Kick Out, your weekly pro wrestling guide. Stay sound.